The United States simply could not afford for Iran to become a nuclear-armed power. Because if Iran gets nuclear weapons, then no pressure or threat from the US will work, and when Iran is no longer afraid, it can sell its oil in yuan or yen. There's nothing the US can do. And when Iran does this, other Gulf countries will start doing the same. Along with this, the US has also made security promises to Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries. This is the very reason why the Gulf countries accepted the dollar for selling oil. So if, after becoming a nuclear nation, Iran becomes aggressive towards the Gulf countries or talks about bringing a revolution, all of the US's security guarantees will remain just on paper. It won't be able to do anything. So you see, the point of explaining all these things is that if just Iran alone becomes nuclear, the entire game that the US has been playing since 1974, the whole petrodollar system and the dominance of the dollar will be impacted in an instant. So the US can afford anything, but what it absolutely cannot afford is for Iran to become a nuclear nation at any cost. So as soon as the US found out that Iran was restarting its nuclear program, their intelligence, along with Israel's, was deeply embedded. They would find out everything. So instead of attacking directly, the US and Israel created a virus called Stuxnet and released it into Iran's nuclear facility. Inside the nuclear facility, all the centrifuges that were enriching uranium spun much faster than needed and broke down completely. Along with this, the Iranian scientists who were actually running this program, like Masoud Ali, Majid, Dariush, Mustafa Ahmadi, started having mysterious accidents from time to time, and they began to be killed. Someone would start their car and it would explode. Someone else would step outside in the morning and suddenly collapse on their own. So all these things started happening and Iran's nuclear program began to get delayed. But even after all this, Iran did not stop. In one way or another, they kept their program going. Because Iran believed that if they couldn't develop nuclear weapons, their destruction was inevitable anyway. So Iran started enrichment in various ways at different locations under the mountains, and because of this, a chain reaction began in which Iran kept developing its nuclear program using different methods, while on the other hand, America and Israel tracked it and launched various missions to stop it. This went on for many years. But then comes the year 2009, and this is where Obama enters the scene. Obama comes in as president. So at this time, the ongoing game between Iran and the US to stop the nuclear program was approached a bit differently by them. They said that instead of attacking, if we bring Iran to the table and sign a nuclear agreement, it will stop the nuclear program and also prevent a warlike situation. But Iran was not okay with having any agreement regarding its nuclear program in this way. This was because the US had also made agreements with Gaddafi. Gaddafi had also shut down his entire nuclear program and handed it over to the US. But even after that, Gaddafi was killed. So Iran believed that these agreements the US was bringing up were just a way to buy time, a way to weaken Iran, and that once Iran agreed to these terms and gave up its program, it would be eliminated afterwards. So when Iran did not agree, Obama imposed heavy sanctions on Iran back to back. They removed Iran from the SWIFT payment system. Sanctions were imposed on all the banks. Any country that tried to buy oil from Iran was also sanctioned. Even though Iran had so much oil, it was unable to sell it. The economy was collapsing. The shutdown of the payment system was creating huge problems. Forget about luxury items, even basic medicines were difficult to import. Because even if some country supplied medicine, how would they make the payment to Iran? There was even a shortage of anesthesia in hospitals, so surgeries and other operations couldn't be performed. And then, when the situation became extremely dire due to the sanctions, Iran agreed to negotiate. In July 2015, Iran signed the JCPOA agreement in Vienna. As part of the deal with Iran, it was agreed that Iran could enrich uranium up to 3.67%, but the IAEA inspectors would monitor around the clock. Both countries agreed to this arrangement. This agreement was finalized. The sanctions on Iran were eased. Everyone was very happy about this, and things started moving forward smoothly. But 3 years later, in 2018, Trump entered the scene. After becoming president, Trump said that the nuclear deal Obama made with Iran was a huge blunder that would greatly harm the US. The first thing he pointed out was that there were so many problems with this agreement. Basic things like ballistic missiles weren't even covered by Obama in this deal. On top of that, the important clauses will expire after some time. And in that case, Iran will become legally stronger. Trump said that by signing the JCPOA, Obama had trapped the US. Nothing good is going to come out of this. Iran will just get more time. It will become even stronger, and by then, it will be too late to stop Iran from going nuclear. Trump broke Obama's JCPOA deal and officially withdrew the US from this agreement. Obama's 5 years of hard work were undone in an instant, and after the deal collapsed, the same tense situation returned. Iran very quickly started breaking the limits on uranium enrichment, and on the other side, Trump kept issuing back-to-back threats that this must be stopped immediately or else the consequences would be very severe. A warlike situation developed between Iran and the US. The US killed Iran's second most powerful man, Qasem Soleimani. In response, Iran attacked a US airbase, and before a war could break out, Biden won and came to power. When Trump became president, Iran's uranium enrichment was at 3.67%, but by the time Trump left office, Iran's enrichment had risen above 20%. So even after all this happened, no solution could be found found here either. Now, after Biden came to power, there was talk again of reviving the JCPOA deal. But Iran made it clear from the start that the deal would only happen if there was a guarantee for the future that no other president could exit the deal. But this was not something Biden could guarantee. So, with all these things in mind, negotiations were ongoing. And then it was April 2021. On this day, while negotiations were ongoing between the Iranian and US teams, in the middle of the talks, on the 11th of April 2021, Israel bombed Iran's Natanz enrichment facility and destroyed all the advanced IR-6 centrifuges there. This incident made Iran extremely angry because on one hand, negotiations were ongoing and on the other hand, bombs were being dropped on them. So Iran said, "We will not tolerate all this." And from here, the situation started to deteriorate a bit. So in response, Iran did not launch a direct attack on Israel. Instead, they said that since they were attacked as a penalty, they would now carry out 60% nuclear enrichment and issued a warning that if they wanted, they could go up to 90%, but for now, they were only enriching up to 60%. However, if such an attack happens again, they will go up to 90% as well. So this attack happened on the 11th of April 2021, and by the 11th of May 2021, Iran had achieved 60% nuclear enrichment. And the whole world came to know about this because the IAEA also confirmed in its report that Iran had achieved 60% enrichment. Now, this created problems for the US as well. Other countries also came together. Pressure started to be put on Iran because from here, reaching 90% would be very easy. The IAEA's Board of Governors held votes among the 35 member countries and passed resolutions against Iran. So Iran said that, first of all, we are cooperating with you, giving you every single detail and allowing the IAEA team to carry out full monitoring and everything. But even after that, you are neither lifting the sanctions on us, nor are you stopping the pressure on us. So after saying all this, Iran blocked the entry of the IAEA team at its nuclear site. All the cameras that were installed in the nuclear facility were removed. Iran also removed all the online enrichment monitors and flow rate monitors. As a result, the 24-hour imagery and online enrichment data that used to come in was stopped. So Iran said that since we are not cooperating anymore, there is no point in keeping these cameras and such devices either.